But good old Nathan Oakley over at Nathan Oakley 1980.
You know, I listen to guys like you, David Weiss, Eric Dubay. Nathan Oakley is my fucking favorite right now. I love Nathan Oakley.
Yeah, me too.
He demolishes
Absolutely.
people. Oh, man.
And Thompson, Nathan Thompson.
Yeah, Nathan Thompson. Nathan Oakley, 1980. Follow his, he does flat earth debates every day, live streams, flat earth debates. Anybody could get on and debate him, and he just demolishes everybody. There's so many good guys out there. So when they asked me, Santos wants to put you on his podcast, I'm like, for what? What am I going to talk about? My strip club stories?
Complete paradox. Reference frames ruined and what? Account for this 15 degrees drift from a second reference frame turning underneath? You're talking nonsense, Dan. Been caught out on your own bucks, my friend. And it's going to need explaining. So you think you can come here, slope your way into the chat and then talk about 15 degrees drift in a second reference frame when you and your reference frames have been ruined, Dan? Dan!
Do you think Dan will be brave enough to come in and talk?
Let's make some space. Sorry to interrupt you guys. Seems we've got SciManDan in the chat, and there's a bit of an issue with something he's saying. It says, lol, look at the directions of the arrows. The 15 degrees both cancel each other out. 15 degrees of the two reference frames, Dan? Because I've got news for you. You and your reference frames have been ruined. So when you're telling us about the 15 degrees that are cancelling each other out, are you talking about the non-inertial spinning reference frame that's claimed to be turning underneath to give you Coriolis drift that you say are ruined? Again, Dan, given that you've given us a non sequitur fallacy in your rebuttal from your echo chamber, both literally and figuratively an echo chamber, I might add, you still seem to be asserting something you say is ruined. So you're making no sense, Dan. How can you be telling Brian about this 15 degrees, that's Earth turning underneath as a second reference frame, when you specifically tell me my reference frames are ruined and I don't have any? Only you have them, and here you are claiming them. So what's been ruined, Dan? You're still yet to claim what you actually claim when you said the reference frame's ruined, and here you are claiming them. 15 degrees of what, Dan? Drift as Earth turns underneath as a second reference frame. Well, quote, SciManDan. Or, as I like to now call him, Stuttering Simon. Stuttering Simon says, you and your reference frames have been ruined.
Something like you and your reference frames have been ruined.
So 15 degrees, Dan? No, reference frames ruined. From your own lips, my friend. Do I need to trim this out and quote yourself back to you with your little chat comment about having 15 degrees? Because I've got no issue, Dan. You've got a complete paradox. Reference frames ruined and what? Account for this 15 degrees drift from a second reference frame turning underneath? You're talking nonsense, Dan. Been caught out on your own bollocks, my friend. And it's going to need explaining. So you think you can come here, slope your way into the chat and then talk about 15 degrees drift in a second reference frame when you and your reference frames have been ruined, Dan? Dan.
Do you think Dan will be brave enough to come in and talk?
Let's make some space. Dan's in the chat saying 15 degrees. I'll read it for you.
Right.
Space on the panel for you, Dan. You tweeted me about reference frames being ruined, Dan. Now you seem to be in my chat talking about 15 degrees. Cancelling each other out? What? The reference frame that's turning underneath that you say is ruined? That's going to need explaining.
Isn't this an open discussion that anyone can join?
Yeah. There's two gaps on the panel. We've got a
Remember,
contradiction.
SciManDan always just says, I don't debate flat earthers.
Well, he's claiming drift in the chat. So while he's saying he doesn't debate flat earthers, he's in a debating platform in the chat talking about reference frames and 15 degrees of drift and it cancelling out the Earth turning underneath as a second reference frame. Dan, Dan, you and your reference frames have been ruined. Yet to explain that. What's it been now? We'll make a 15th video, Dan. Yeah? Shall I start giving them a little hash and a number? How many times Dan's ignored his egregious error? Yeah, I don't mind. 15th video, right, Dan? Dan in the chat talking about 15 degrees second reference frame turning underneath, as is claimed. And yet, you and your reference frames have been ruined? That's a problem.
Been using my name in many of his videos. I think it's 14 or 15 videos in the last week or so. All off the back of a tweet.
What reference frames?
The ones that have been ruined, the ones they claim drift with, those reference frames, ruined ones, they're claiming they've got them. Dan says they're ruined.
So their reference frames.
Yeah.
Their reference frames are ruined, actually.
Yeah, their reference frames. And the drift Dan's in the chat claiming now. What, the drift you believe in, but demonstrated otherwise and claim the reference frames used with this 15 degrees you're detailing from my chat is ruined, Dan? Man, your fans are going to be so pleased with you, given that you're not explaining this to them. What reference frames? Oh, it's got to be #100. What reference frames, Dan? Which ones are ruined? Don't seem to be telling us. Am I missing something?
You can just be on one reference frame, stare at a dot on a wall, and rotate your body. If you can't see the dot anymore, then you can, rotate your head opposite of the direction your body's rotating to keep it in sight. That's all an equatorial mount does.
That's nice. It's claimed Earth's got 2 reference frames, though, and the Coriolis drift. Well, that's fascinating, but it's not what Globers claim. Maybe you're trying to debunk the claim that we have 2, like Dan did. Is that what you're trying to do? Claim we've only got 1 reference frame?
But the thing that moves east to west at 15 degrees an hour.
I just
If the sun is supposed to be stationary on your model.
The sun's a solitary dot on the wall, and you're the one rotating, not the sun. So if you're rotating east to west, you can make an analogy with the Earth with your body rotating. If your body rotates and you have a dot on the wall, you will not see the dot anymore if your head remains straight. But if you crane your neck in opposition to the direction your body turns, you can keep the dot in sight. That's all an equatorial mount does.
No, I'll more than happily yell at stupid people. Dan is a stupid person. He's claiming drift from a chat where he's being asked repeatedly to actually explain which reference frames he says are ruined. That'd be yours, your reference frames. The same ones you've used to claim drift in this chat, or say that you're counteracting the inertial reference frame that turns underneath in your vernacular of an Earth that spins. Yeah, that's the reference frames you've ruined.